What's up guys, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and in this video we're going to be looking at the key differences between the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 and the iPhone 10. Now I know a lot of you guys are going to be going crazy in the comments saying that this is an unfair comparison because the iPhone 10 was released much before the Note 9. But at this point in time, if you want to get the best from Apple and if you want to get the best from Samsung, then these are the devices here. So initially, let's look at the size difference. And of course, the iPhone 10 is much smaller compared to the Samsung Galaxy Note 9. And that is because the Note 9 has a much larger display, a 6.4-inch display compared to the 5.8-inch display on the iPhone 10. Now, if you guys have been keeping up on the channel, then you'll know that we are going to be having an iPhone 10 Plus coming up in the next few months. And I've actually got a model of it here. And if we do compare that to the Note 9, then things are much more similar in terms of the size. But coming back to these two devices here, both actually have great displays. We've got OLED technology on both. Of course, a lot of you guys may already know that Samsung makes the screens for the iPhone 10. And this really shows because both screens are very nice, very sharp and vibrant. But the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 does have a higher pixel density, so things may just appear slightly sharper. The difference isn't going to be huge. Now, both of these have minimal bezels. We've just got a top and bottom strip on the Note 9. On the iPhone 10, of course, there is that notch. A lot of you guys hate that notch with a passion. So if that is the case, then you might want to stay clear of the iPhone 10, but this essentially does come down to personal preference. I don't really mind either of these, and I like the fact that both have very small bezels. Now, one thing the display of the iPhone 10 has, which the Note 9 doesn't, is 3D touch. So on the iPhone 10, you can just push down hard on icons and it's going to give you more details, and it's very useful on the keyboard. This is something that's not completely available on the Note 9, although this home area here is pressure sensitive, so if I push down hard on that from anywhere, then that is going to bring me back home. Now let's move on to the build and design. Both of these are very premium. We've got a metal frame with curved glass panels on the front and back on the Note 9, and on the iPhone 10 you've got a stainless steel frame with glass panels on the front and back. However, they don't curve in. We've also got a camera bump, which I'm not a huge fan of on the iPhone 10. On the Note 9, the camera bump is very minimal. Both devices are water and dust resistant, but the Note 9 is IP68 water and dust resistant, whereas we've got IP67 on the iPhone 10. So the Note 9 does get a slight edge here. And you can also get the Note 9 in 4 different colors, whereas the iPhone 10 is only available in silver and space gray. However, that's not a huge problem, because if you want to customize the look of either of these devices and get rid of those nasty fingerprints, then you can pick up a skin from our channel sponsor Dbrand. iPhone 10 and Note 9 skins are now available on the Dbrand website, and I'm going to be leaving a link to them in the description below. Now let's move on to what's powering these devices. The iPhone 10 does have Apple's A11 Bionic chip, which has performed really well over time. And you've also got 3GB of RAM. Now, RAM management hasn't been the best on the iPhone 10. With the Note 9, you've got the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 or the Exynos 9810, depending on your region. These are the top of the line processors on the Android side. And then you've got either 6 or 8GB of RAM. So on the RAM side, the Note 9 definitely gets the edge. You've also got a water carbon cooling system on the Note 9, which is going to keep things cool when you're gaming. Now, in terms of detailed performance differences, of course, we'll be doing some Super Saf style speed tests. And if you want to see those first, then make sure you have subscribed and switch on notifications. We'll be doing those very soon. Now, for the operating systems, we do have Android versus iOS, of course. The iPhone 10 is currently on iOS 11. It will be upgraded to iOS 12 soon. The Note 9 is currently on Android 8.1. When that's going to be updated, we're not exactly sure. And this is something that you're going to have to bear in mind. With the iPhone, you are going to be getting those updates direct. You're not going to have to wait around too long. With the Notes, because we do have the Samsung Experience skin on top, although you get some really nice and cool features, you're not going to be getting those updates right away. However, the software does come down to your personal preference. I won't be going into an Android versus iOS war in this video. Now let's talk about the storage. The iPhone 10 comes in either a 64GB or 256GB version. This is not expandable. And here the clear win goes to the Note 9, which comes with a base version of 128GB. And then you can also get another 512GB version, which is absolutely insane. And that's not all, because you can also expand that. So you've got a micro SD card slot, and this means you can get an additional 512GB SD card, and that's gonna increase your storage to to 1 TB. And a thumbs up to Samsung for including so much storage on the Note 9. Right, now it's time to talk about the cameras. Both of these have dual camera setups. On the iPhone 10, you've got dual 12 megapixel cameras with optical image stabilization. The primary has an f1.8 aperture, and the secondary camera is a telephoto camera, which is going to give you 2 times optical zoom, and that has an f2.4 aperture. Great cameras overall. I've done lots of camera tests. However, for low light, I wouldn't say it's so great. Now with the Note 9, the camera hardware is pretty much exactly the same as what we've got on the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. So once again, dual 12 megapixel cameras, both with optical image stabilization. The wide angle camera actually has a dual aperture. So you've got f1.5, which is very wide and it's great for low light. And you've also got f2.4. It's going to switch between these depending on the light in your environment. And then the secondary camera is telephoto, as we've got with the iPhone 10. And this also has an aperture of f2.4. Now I've already done a detailed camera comparison of the Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus versus the iPhone 10. I'll link that in the cards. A lot of you guys still want to see an updated camera comparison between these. And if you want that, definitely drop me a comment below and I'll try to do a superstar style camera comparison between these as soon as possible. And for video, both of these can film at 4K at up to 60 frames a second. And we've also got slow motion 1080p at 240 frames a second on both. However, the Note 9 does come with super slow-mo, and that's a short burst of 960 frames a second. Now, this can be really interesting at 720p, but it's something that I personally found myself using for a few weeks on the S9 Plus, and then I kind of forgot about. I'd assume it'd be a similar case here with the Note 9, but it does get the advantage here when it comes to slow motion. For the front-facing cameras, the iPhone 10 has a 7 megapixel front-facing camera with an f2.2 aperture, and the Note 9 has an 8 megapixel front-facing camera with an f1.7 aperture. It's also got autofocus and can record at up to 1440p. I definitely do like the stabilization from Samsung front-facing cameras when it comes to video. Very, very stable and great for vlogging. Once again, if you want to see some detailed comparisons between these two, then let me know in the comments below. Now let's move on to the audio department. And both devices do have stereo speakers. There's one in the earpiece and one bottom firing. Both sound really, really good. But of course, the iPhone 10 does not have a 3.5mm headphone jack. The Note 9 still maintains this, and it is great to have. I personally do value a 3.5mm headphone jack. I know eventually it's going to be phased out, but at this point in time, it's so useful having that, especially if you're traveling. But the iPhone 10 does come with a dongle out of the box, so you can still use your 3.5mm headphones with the iPhone 10. It's just that if you lose it, then you're gonna have to buy another one, etc, etc. Right, now when it comes to security, the iPhone 10 has Face ID, which is very fast and easy and has worked really, really well. With the Samsung Galaxy Note 9, you firstly have a fingerprint scanner, which is now repositioned. It's in a more accessible place compared to what it was last year. It was right there last year. However, I still think it's a bit of a reach. Now, you don't have to use it if you don't want to, because you do have intelligent scan, and that is the iris scanner as well as facial recognition. It works in combination. This once again is also very, very fast, and I've done a detailed comparison of Face ID versus intelligent scan on the S9 Plus. That video will be linked in the cards and in the description below if you want to check that out. Moving on, an additional feature that the Note 9 has, which pretty much no other device out there has right now, is the S Pen. Now, this is really cool, because traditionally the S Pen has just been to kind of jot down memos and a few other interactive things like hover over text and get it translated. But the Note 9 takes it a step further, and the S Pen now has Bluetooth. So you can remotely control the Note 9 using the S Pen. So for example, if the device is there, if you want to launch the camera, you can just press and hold this button. Boom. And you can customize this as well, so you can use it to launch other apps. Once you're inside an app such as the camera, you can just press once to take a picture, you can press twice to flip the camera. This also works with other apps, so you can use it to scrub through a player, for example, or skip through slides. And it's also going to be opened up to developers, so we should be seeing lots more coming from the S Pen. Now let's move on to the batteries. The iPhone 10 has a 2716 mAh battery. The Note 9 has a massive 4000 mAh battery. Now in my experience, the iPhone 10 has been okay overall. It hasn't been great. The Note 9, I do expect it to perform better, but then again, you do have a larger display and you also have a different operating system, so we'll see how things go. Now the Note 9 definitely gets the advantage when it comes to charging, and that's because it has fast wireless charging as well as fast wired charging. on the iPhone 10, you do have wireless charging. And although you do have fast wide charging available on the iPhone 10, the fast charger is not included in the box. This is something that I've ranted about a lot before, and it's super annoying that you have to pay £74 on top of what you're paying for the iPhone already. Whereas on the Note 9, it comes included out of the box. And that brings us on finally to price. The base model of the iPhone 10 is currently going for £1,000 here in the UK, $1,000 in the US. The Note 9 comes in at also $1,000, but £900 here in the UK. So if you're in the UK, then you are going to be paying 10% less for the Note 9 compared to the iPhone 10. And for that, you also get double the storage. So this does make the Note 9 quite compelling for a lot of people, especially if you're on the Android side. But of course, if you are somebody that's invested in the Apple ecosystem, then it might be that you have to stick to the iPhone. And we are going to be getting some new iPhones coming in the next few months, including an iPhone 10 Plus, which we talked about a little bit earlier. However, that is likely to cost even more than $1,000. So just do bear that in mind. In terms of availability, the iPhone 10 is currently available. You can go out and buy it. With the Note 9, you can pre-order it right now, and it's going to be shipping on the 24th of August. So very, very soon. And there we have it, guys. Those are the key differences between the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 and the iPhone 10. Which one would be your pick? Definitely let me know in the comments below. As mentioned once again, when we do have the new iPhones out, then we will be doing some updated videos. And if you want to see those first, then make sure you have subscribed and switch on notifications. We'll of course be doing lots more comparisons here with the Note 9 too. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then do hit that thumbs up button for me. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time.